Oh, that was a fun weekend. That was a really fun first weekend of games.
It was.
There was a little boost, which we're going to get into. I'm not going to do much exactly, Kratz. Do it again for us. Boom, boom, boom. Yeah, your old buddy Salvi did that a few times and had some success with it. We have so much to cover with the ABS challenge system. So I'm not going to waste much time because we're going to talk to Mason Miller in about 15 minutes. I want to make sure we have a good chunky 12-minute segment to go over all of the ABS challenge system virality from the weekend. It took over. People were like, oh my gosh, I can't believe how good this is. And we were like, yeah, we've been talking about this for a long time.
We have.
So here we go. Well, CB Buckner has to lead off the ump show. I think that was the true virality from the weekend. People were like, the ABS challenge system is what is going to bring world peace. Everybody loves it, except for CB. Everybody else loves it. So take me through that game and your experience with CB and the year that he's going to have. And he's not the only one, but 8 challenges on Saturday. 6 of them were overturned. Red Sox, Reds, including Gino Suarez, consecutive strike 3 calls that were not.
No, that were not. And like before we go on to CB, like this is going to exploit some umpires. And, you know, hopefully for the good. But there's going to be a lot. And again, balls are missing by that much. Well, I've always talked about it. Forget about the buffer zone. Listen, a ball's a ball. CB Buckner, been doing it for a long time now. This guy right here has missed some calls over the years, and we've talked about it. Everybody has. Kratz, you know, he misses a call. Hey, CB, I got that off. Straight face. Okay. I'm like, okay. That's not, yeah, he would be real quick with it, and he wouldn't, his face was subtle. Kratz, tell me if I'm wrong. The guy never had a peep. And then he would, all of a sudden, he would explode every once in a while. But now, you can't get bitter at this. These are the new rules. You missed the call. Me and Gene got it right. Don't get bitter. Get better. And that would be my thing to him.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't even say straight face. He just gives you one of these.
Yes, yeah.
And that's more irritating than anything else. It is. It's more irritating. How you react to mistakes or how you react to like people questioning you, that's how the whole like relationship is built. The best umpires that you really enjoy are the ones that, you know, you can have a conversation with. And the first one here, I felt like with Gino, I felt like, you know, that one he reacted fine. His reaction right here when he calls it, he gives him like the hands down, like, oh, you're gonna challenge me. Oh, like, oh, okay, I'll go and check it again. Like, to me, if there's any other reaction, then okay, yeah, I'll challenge it. Then it tells me that it's like you're getting a little too personal with it. Like, it's either right or wrong. That's it. Whether it's by 1/10 of an inch or whether it's by 2 inches.
The Red Sox ran out of challenges. Otherwise, they could have had more fun with this. And then do you feel like CB was taking a shot back at them by not checking on the Trevor Story
check swing?
Yeah.
Well, that would be my other gripe with CB and Angel Hernandez. They both on separate occasions told me, you can tell if a guy check swung or not by looking at his face. Now, I don't think he was taking a shot. I don't think he was like, oh, you guys showed me up by challenging so many. I hope that's not the case. That's vindictive, and that's not helpful. They both said at separate times, I'll look at their eyes. So they'll like tilt and look at their eyes. If you watch the replay, he looks right at his face. I was like, so what are you looking for? He goes, you'll know. I'm like, what?
Did he bring a polygraph out too for each of them to make sure that they actually believe what they're saying? It's ridiculous.
Bad umpires will be bad umpires.
Agreed. And now Cora called him out post-game. So for me, the difference isn't just your percentage. It's where your misses are. So there's ABS challenges, the CB Buckner effect. We're showing the Reds just bringing it in that game. But I also want to show the actual pitch graph of the ones that he did miss. Could we take that full screen too, so we can show, you know, Kratz breaking down some of the pitches that were outside of the zone and by how much outside the zone. Some of these are pretty egregious.
Number 4 is egregious. Number 6 and number 8 are egregious too because they're not as far, but they're on his strong side. They're on the side that he's on. Like you can't miss the balls. You can't miss the balls that when you're set up in. And those two, I think 7 and 1 are kind of stacked on top of each other. They weren't against righties, so he wasn't inside on those pitches. Or I'm sorry, they weren't against lefties, so he wasn't inside. But if you just gotta, like, number 3. So what? Like that one touched the zone. That one we're gonna figure that out. I hope. But the biggest thing is if umpires want to make the change, if they want to, or if they're going to be like, whatever, you don't have this is where I think a huge value might be. They're not going to have any more challenges. Now it just might turn into like an old school game, like a Eric Gregg game, where it's just like hit, and you're like, oh boy, what do we do now?
Yesterday, I'm watching the game with my son, and he's a Mets fan, as you guys know. I probably talked about 100 times. So I'm sitting there watching the game for a little bit before I do something else, and there was a pitch that was up. He called a strike, and it was a ball. And this is the best part of it. My son's like, challenge it, challenge. Like, you got young kids that are screaming at the TV screen, and then you see the guy, they're like, like they want to, but they don't. Like, I wonder after each game how many calls they miss and how many calls, like,
a player misses that should challenge.
And player misses. That's what I was trying to get at. And, like, listen, CB Buckner, he called strike that. It was going to be strike 3 no matter what. Let's just be honest with you. Unless it was a ball that went over his head or in the dirt. He was mad that he challenged the call and he lost.
Mm-hmm.
Next pitch was this far off. You know what? Bang him anyway. Hopefully he doesn't challenge. Challenge it again. Looked up at him. He's like, really? You're going to challenge? Yeah, it's going to be fun. It's going to be interesting as we move forward here because some umpires don't want this crap.
It doesn't matter.
And
it's
I don't
going
think
to
it's
make
crap,
you better.
but that's how they're saying. And a lot of umpires are like, okay, you want to challenge me 100 times? And if they get it right, they're like inside, they got a little pride. You know what I mean? So you saw in Cincinnati how excited the crowd got. That was fun to watch.
The
and
game
then they ended up winning the game.
Exactly. But it's the game inside the game too, Kratz,
Crazy.
because it is bringing more fan engagement. We knew this was going to happen. Some people are surprised. I'm like, no. This is the change that takes the sport to another entertainment level. It is.
It definitely, because we're getting it right. We're getting it right, and there's intrigue to it. That's like a pause in the game, which we're trying to eliminate. But that pause in the game is exciting. Like, people aren't going, oh, another challenge. Get on my phone. No, it's like a challenge. Oh, I want to see what happens. Yeah. Or, no, why'd you challenge there? You suck. You're not one of our better players. Like, I want to see what I want to see at the end of the season. And we can't wait. Maybe we could see it by the All-Star break halfway through the season. Is we have the umpire scorecards from every year, from last year to this year. I want to see who improves. And to me, it'll be directly correlated to the ABS challenge system.
It will, 100%.
I found one instance. So the other day when the Cubs lost or were losing at the time and they lost to the Nationals, it was 8-4, 2 runners on, 1 out. Nico Hoerner at the plate, bottom of the 7th, 3-1 pitch. It was inside. It was called a strike. He would have walked to load up the bases. And then that would have put up Carson Kelly representing the tying run. Instead, next pitch grounded into a double play, ended it. So it's those types of late situations where one inning can change it all, right? One pitch in that inning can change it all, that players will get smarter with and say, hey, this is the time. I can't be gun shy on a time like this because this could decide the game. So that part's important. We had a bunch of stats from over the weekend. So I think Salvador Perez went viral for getting 3 for 3, but he wasn't the only one. And also over since now then 4 for 4 total. He was 3 for 3 in one game. Real Muto was perfect 3 for 3 in these first several games. Same with Austin Wells. On the umpire side, Chad Whitson in the Giants-Yanks game the other day actually had 7 challenges, all of them overturned. He was worse than Buckner by numbers. Now, some pitches are closer. That's why I want everyone to see the Buckner chart and how some of those misses were. But Buckner was at 75%. Chris Siegel in the Orioles-Twins game had 10 challenges, 7 of them overturned. And let's go to that game for a moment because actually saw our first ejection as a result of the ABS challenge system. Some were worried, including some on this show, that we would not have any animosity between coaches, players, and umpires. I think we've seen plenty already. We'll run through a few examples, but let's start with Derek Shelton, who was ejected from Sunday's game. Was it Sunday or Saturday? I think it was Saturday. Saturday?
Okay.
I think it was Saturday.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
it was, because Helsley was on the mound.
Yeah, Helsley. Well, I think he closed out both, but Helsley tapped, and Shelton said he tapped too quick, or not too quick, too slow.
I saw the replay on that. He went one. He didn't exaggerate it. It looked like right, and then he went back and did it. I don't know. They might have to do something about that.
What?
I don't know. That's what I'm saying. Like, you got to be really egregious with the tapping, or because he kind of went like that, like boom, like that. I don't know what the ruling is. And then he went a couple more times. So I don't know. That one there I was in between on, but it deals with Las Diaz. So there's always a controversy there. Too,
Exactly.
So.
Well, you're still going to have plenty of fun.
Yeah.
And Kratz, there was also Doug Eddings, who said that Matt Olson took too long to challenge a strike call, and he didn't give it to him. We saw that happen a few times in spring training, and I was like, oh, that's only happening a few times in spring training. Yeah. That's going to happen a lot in the regular season, at least at the start of the season. That's kind of a way for an umpire to be like, hey, you better be super definitive right away. And also, it's going to affect some umps that are a little bit delayed with their calls, because then you know how a player kind of thinks he's going one way if he's got a walk, but then the strike's called. But then if you make a motion, then did you make a motion and then try to tap your head? And you can't do that. The nuances might actually change the way that somebody does something. Like, they might actually wait at the plate regardless, make sure the call is made. And then if they don't agree with the call, do the tap before they move over to first.
It changes your timing. I talk about it all the time with the high school kids. Like, there's timing in baseball. Like, if you're not on to the next thing when this happens, like, you're too late. And so I think it was Fortes. Nick Fortes caught one. It was a slider from a lefty, I forget. And he caught it, and it looked like a very definitive strike. And he caught it, and he brought it up to throw it back, and the umpire balled it. He put the ball in his glove, and then he went like this, and the umpire said, no, that took too long. It was not. I need to know what that time span is. I need to know what is it 3 seconds? Like, that's the number I keep hearing, but 3 seconds is a long time. But to me, I don't think Helsley's challenge was too late. I didn't think Olson's challenge was too late, or Nick Fortes' challenge. But Nick Fortes just does what he does. Catches, oh yeah, definitely a strike. Catch it, go to throw back. Well, I mean, he's got to go with the ball in his hand. So he put the ball in his glove, put the ball right in the mitt, and went right to the tap, and the umpire leaned over. He's like, nope, not going to happen.
Crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's crazy fun. Crazy fun. It's going to exploit some people.
Yep.
Some people are going to be, okay, yeah, man, I got some work to do. Some people are like, these sons of guns. That's life. That's any job you go to. That's part of it. You're going to have some people who are bitter, but most people want to get better.
Some players are going to get pissed at each other too. So Matt Wallner had a full count pitch that was basically down the middle, and people called it a rage challenge because he didn't swing. But they were like, dude, that's a strike.
Dude, what are you doing?
Middle quadrant a little bit, more towards the knees, but middle lower quadrant, you're good there. Muncie 15 in our chat, not Max, but a Muncie fan, I guess, said Acuna challenging bottom of the first right after Baldwin lost a challenge in the top of the first for the Braves can't happen. Got to be used in better situations. Completely agree. You cannot lose your challenges in the first inning. You can't lose your challenges in the fourth inning.
That's why you save them until the 7th, 8th, and 9th, in my opinion.
All of them?
When it gets.
I think after the one burned, it's got to be egregious to start, right? Or on a huge moment. Bases loaded, third inning. Someone's up. This is your chance to blow up in the game. Bad call. You feel like you've got it. Okay.
But I also think it's going to hurt some players hitting, because they're like, like I saw like Soto. He's like, it kind of takes you out of your rhythm a little bit too. If I'm looking at the other side of it, like, they're professional hitters. Don't get me wrong. But if you're thinking about maybe I should have challenged, maybe not, and now it's like ringing in your head. Now pitcher's like, I got you, bud. Let's go. So that's where on the flip side, it's a little different. Like, all right, you didn't challenge it, let go and move on.
Mm-hmm.
If it's borderline, if you got to think, if I'm a manager and I tell my guys, if you got to second guess yourself and you're in between, you better not challenge. That would be my answer to all that.
Yeah, and then to finish here, there's some swagginess where Randy Arozarena was so confident that it was going to be overturned that he just starts taking off his equipment and walking to first base before the ruling came in. He's just like, boom, boom, challenge. And also, you can see some guys are making eye contact, some guys are not, right? Some guys are just doing this, and some guys are looking back like, you are wrong. So there will be plenty of animosity. Do not worry. The game will still have tons of human element to it. We will ask Mason Miller about the ABS challenge system and his experience viewing it so far. He's joining us, the Padres closer, with the new entrance music coming up next.
The Reaper.
The Reaper. Hey, we're back. Let's show you this little nugget from the weekend. We'll talk later about the Giants getting swept by the Yankees, but did you see where third base coach Luis Rojas stood so he didn't get smoked under these new rules when Giancarlo Stanton was at the plate? What'd you say?
It's amazing. You're only allowed to stand there. That's unbelievable.
Well, you got to be in the box or back up.
It's ridiculous. I guess it's a safety hazard, but
that's why they complained, but nobody's done anything about it.
Might as well put him in the dugout. Honestly.
Or in the seats, maybe a seat.
I'm in the dugout. Bunt, but yes, whatever. Hey, if that's a simple rule that has to be fixed, so be it. There's other rules where you're mind-boggling, but safety for sure.
What about a prison cell, like a square prison cell, like solitary confinement that has glass so that
you got candy in there too?
Yeah, you can have snacks. Yeah, yep. Right. And it's just you have to be right there, and that blocks out some foul ground. I mean, Kratz, he was
weather game too. You'd be
cold, right? You could be warm. Kratz, he was way back. I mean, he's basically against the wall.
I've seen guys far back with extreme pull hitters. I've seen him like that, but I think he's trying to make an example too. Like it's ridiculous. Let them go farther down the line. I get it. Even in this case, there's no runners on. The pitcher's come and set, not even come and set. He's just standing on the mound and his hands in his glove like this. If you look at the picture, was he picking it up because he's directly across, but just farther down the line? Well, he's also in a safer area. I mean, Giancarlo Stanton hits the ball 120 miles an hour. Like you just don't have enough time from where the boxes are to be safe. So you got to be out there.
Safety. That's all. Whatever.
They don't care. No. They don't care.
The league's just going to say that's fine and stand back there.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah. Why do you need a third base coach?
Well, they feel like there's more paranoia on the pitch tipping part and that they can't make everyone happy. I'm just laying it down. That's the message that has been sent so far.
There will be more. There will be more pitch tipping. There'll be a different way. That's it. They're always going to be pitch tipping.
Padres closer Mason Miller joining us after the first few games, big weekend of the season here in MLB. Mason, great to have you on, man. Let's start with the entrance. I think we have to. I know you've answered some questions about it, but take us through like the behind the scenes of everything that went into Korn popping up as your entrance music.
Yeah, obviously Korn's a little before my time, so had to be a little bit more going into that. The clubhouse staff, the clubbies came to me in spring training right after I got back from the WBC, and they're like, hey, we were in here last night. This song came on, and we think it'd be great for you. So they threw it on, and I mean, the loudspeaker, when you kind of listen to it on like your phone, you're like, meh. I don't know. But you put it on a loudspeaker, it's like, this is pretty sweet. So I think it turned out all right. The clubbies already said they're trying to get it even louder. So yeah, I think it turned out pretty well.
Did you have to hear it in the stadium before you said, okay, yeah, I definitely like this?
No, they get the bump box in the locker rooms loud enough. That captures it.
What's the one clubby when I was with the Padres? He might not even still be there. Does he still ride around on the hoverboard when he's doing laundry?
I haven't seen that.
You haven't seen it? Okay. But anyway, those dudes were always when I was there, they were always into heavy metal. So I love that they chose it. But take us to that moment. Take us to the moment when you came out there and you knew it was going to be a different choreographed light show, all that stuff. Did you get the reaction yourself? Or is your heart rate already pumping and it doesn't really matter what the music and the lights are doing?
I don't think it really matters. I mean, you know where I played for a couple years ago, so I don't need those to get the juices flowing. But man, they do help. I mean, playing in Petco is one of a kind. Sick experience. They love the ninth inning. They love save situations. So, and it's the first one of the year too. So obviously, I was excited to get out there and get that one out of the way.
No doubt. You got the first save for Craig Stammen's first win. Talk a little about him. Was there a speech afterwards, the excitement, just for him to get that first win off his back?
Yeah, it was good. Yeah, the first ones, you always celebrate the first. You have to. It's fun. Brings the guys together. Not really a speech, but we did put him in the cart, and he's done that before, so he knew that was coming. But just all good fun with the guys, and we got the first one out of the way. So play a little more free, hopefully this next series, and as things get rolling, be the team that we know we can be.
Do you have to ask the Jefe if he's okay going in the cart, or was this like a predetermined? Because Craig Albernaz, the players on the Orioles on his first victory, asked him, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm down for the boys." And did you guys go as crazy as you did for other guys times when they get in the cart, or was it just beer?
I think that was actually I think that might have been my first or maybe second one with the Padres. So pretty standard, I would imagine, but it was respectfully, of course. As what Joe said, hey, we jump in the cart respectfully, if that's okay with you. Of course it was. So he's one of the boys. That's part of what makes Stam unique, and why we're pretty excited about having him there. Is he has that different relationship that not a lot of teams or a lot of managers are accustomed to having, where he played with some of the guys. I think the respect and the understanding level is a little bit different, not necessarily better or worse, but I think that's a welcome change for a lot of the guys here.
Do you feel it on the pitching side too, with his experience, not just as a former pitcher, but a really recent former pitcher?
Yeah, I think time will tell more. We're 3 games into it, so it's kind of hard to tell, but I don't think it's going to hurt. There's no way that it should hurt. He's been in our position. He's been in stretches where he's throwing a ton or stretches where he's not throwing. So I think that just general usage and game planning of it will be great.
Hey, Mason, you got to watch a little bit of the Tigers. They were one of the better teams in the AL last year. They should be again this year. One of the conversations we're going to go over later in the show is the burst of rookies on the scene. This looks like one of the better rookie classes that we've seen in a while. What was your firsthand viewing experience of Kevin McGonigal like for the Tigers?
Yeah, impressive, obviously. To have that entrance to your big league career, let alone on opening day. And, he was playing several different positions, and, you just tip your cap to that. Where he was putting a lot of good swings on the ball. He's all over the dish, which, as a pitcher is pretty annoying. I feel like with his leg kick, his foot's in the strike zone. But he covers the inside pitch well. He's got great plate discipline. So, not surprised at all to see him having success given his pedigree. And yeah, I wish him nothing but the best.
Obviously, we're going to talk about the rookies later, but when you see a rookie like that come up, and I get it, he got 4 hits in the first game. Do you guys feel like, as big league pitchers who are established, you're like, well, we don't really have a lot on them. Yeah, we have some AA, AAA video. Does that hurt your ability to necessarily make the best pitches, or could you guys really care less and just go with whatever you guys got going?
I think each pitcher is going to be different. I do think there's some truth to seeing, what he's had success against and what he's had struggles with. And then, you have to kind of extrapolate that to the big league level. If, he's hitting, I think his numbers on 97 plus were pretty good in the minor leagues. But then you also don't know how many, hittable pitches he's seen at 97 plus either. So you kind of take like everything with a grain of salt, at least in my opinion. And for me, I always kind of fall back on, what I do well. And at the end of the day, like if I execute what I'm trying to do, if it's a slider below the zone or a fastball in or a fastball at the top, like it doesn't really matter who it is, more times than not, if you execute your pitch, you're going to have a good outcome. Sometimes they will beat you, and more prolific or players that we all know who they are might have a little bit higher success rate, but those guys that are the best in the game are still hitting 300, 320. So 70% of the time they're getting out.
See, I want to ask this question. You've been on cruise control here. It seems like these last 10 games I've been looking at here since September 6th. Hitters batting 0 for 30, 23 strikeouts. My question is, 5 walks, man? What's that about?
We got to cut down on the walks.
We got to cut that out.
We got to get back to that. The walk rate was great in 24. The walk rate took a hit last year and walked one in my first outing. So that's up here where we're trying to dial it in and limit those walks for sure.
I want to just go and kind of finish what I was trying to get at here. Like, it's really impressive, bro. Let's just call a spade a spade. What you've been doing, how you've been doing it. You face these batters. I'm sure you have some sort of meetings that you talk about. Is there, you don't have to tell me the game plan, but sometimes when you throw that hard, do you feel like sometimes I just got to get it to a spot where I need to be and I'm going to execute? Or sometimes do you think I'm throwing this hard, let me just grip it and rip it, and hopefully I get the movement I want on it?
Yeah, I think it's a blend. Each day is different. Y'all know that. Sometimes you feel great, sometimes you don't feel as good. Sometimes it's no thoughts, sometimes it's all the thoughts. But I'd say last year, towards the end of the season, it was kind of like that flow state, like not thinking about anything, just kind of going out there, ripping it, having a good idea of where the ball was going, a good feel for pitches, a good feel for misses. I feel like that's a big part of my game. I'm not a put it in a solo cup guy. I have a lot of good, work on the edge of the strike zone, but some of that is playing, where my miss is that day too. And knowing like I can be effective on the glove side, but also my miss is going to be the top, which is going to be a great pitch too. But yeah, now it's a new season, so everybody's starting at zero, and it's a little bit of everybody finding their footing. Some guys are coming out scorching hot, some guys are coming out cold, and everybody's freaking out because oh my gosh, you didn't get a hit in your first 10, 15 at bats, or you gave up a couple runs in your first outing. It's like we're all getting our sea legs under us a little bit, and playing in front of a big league stadium. There's no simulating that in spring training, so guys are juiced, guys are amped up, and we're all excited baseball's back.
All right. Well, all that excitement. And then you guys have off on Sunday. Mason, off on a Sunday. Have you ever in your big league career had no game on a Sunday that wasn't a rainout?
No, I don't know if I ever have. I don't know if I ever will again. The opening day schedule is kind of weird. With we had a Wednesday game and an off day for those guys, and it's just kind of a weird setup to me. But what are we gonna do? We don't make the schedule. We just play the game.
All right. Well, one of the dudes is playing the game. He's playing a new position. Castellanos is going to get some time at first. DH for you guys. I know you missed part of spring with the WBC, but what are the conversations you're hearing? Like, is there a little bit of a chip on his shoulder? Because I feel like he's a really good player, and I felt like he kind of got a bad rep in Philly, and now all of a sudden he's with a really good team, inserted in this lineup. What are you hearing from his side?
I mean, I think he's in a great spot. We've seen him take a couple good swings this first series too. some of that was off the bench, and that's obviously an adjustment for him. Me personally, me and him were talking about it. Pinch hitting, I think, is one of the toughest things in the game, especially these days. You're always getting late inning leverage arm type situation, and as a leverage arm, who's on the bench, so you have a pretty good idea, a spot that a guy might show up. So just that preparation. But yeah, I think he's in a great headspace. San Diego's a really hard place to be unhappy, with the weather and the guys that we have here. So I think it is a little bit of like, fresh start and looking to prove some things. And, his opportunities are coming this year, and he's going to be ready.
Mason, the story that dominated the weekend was the ABS challenge system coming to life in regular season games. And many fans that weren't paying much attention in spring training are like, this is awesome. So what was your experience like with it in your series, but then also just checking out some other clips that went viral on social media?
Yeah, I think, we're seeing exactly what we hope to see from it. And, some calls getting overturned in big spots. For me, though, I think we had 3 challenges and 18 pitches the other night. And I kind of expected that to be the case if a team, has their challenges still, which, knowing how teams are looking at it, you don't want to burn your challenges early and be without them the rest of the game. So good chance they're going to have at least one, and you can't take it with you. So I'm going to guess there's going to be a lot of challenges in the ninth inning. Freddie got one right. He challenged one, got it right. Got a count to 0-2 instead of 1-1. So that was big. Yeah, so early indications it's good. I haven't had that backbreaker yet. I mean, I threw a backdoor slider to Colt Keith that got called strike 3. He challenged it. So it's kind of like you start your loop around the mound, and then you got to stop, and then you got to wait. And then it's like, oh, yeah, it is strike 3. Okay, cool. And keep going. So it's kind of like that weird disruption of, the natural flow of the game that we're used to. But I think objectively it's going to, avoid these, I guess, egregious calls that people end up talking about for the next, 3 days after a game ends.
Could you see pitchers being affected by it? You kind of hinted on it a little bit in the sense of how do you lock back in after that 17 to 22 second delay when you thought you had something and then you didn't. You thought you had a strikeout, and now I got to keep battling this good hitter.
Yeah, I think if it's egregious, you're going to know already, like you're going to throw it and you're going to get the call, and you're going to be like, would have been last year, but I know that's a ball. So, I don't know. It's a tough little like gap of time, because it's not like a mound visit necessarily, but it's like closer to that than it is a normal, pitch gap between with the timer. For me, I think I'm just trying to take it as like we don't get to just step off as much times as we want. So that's just like take a moment, center yourself. I'm trying not to stare at the board the whole time, honestly. I want to see it when it comes in, but if you sit there and you turn around and you stare up at the board and you're centered on the board, you're staring at this bright LED screen, and then you turn back around and you got to lock back in on like the hitter and what you're doing. I just feel like visually that's difficult. But I think person to person that'll vary.
That's a good point. I like that. I didn't think about the LED screen blinding you. Get off your screens, kids. I like it. So you're getting off your screen. All right, I got 2 WBC questions. First one, some people kind of felt like it was viral and didn't know what was going on. You got your medal and you took it right off. I saw some of your other teammates doing it when you guys got your second place medal. Can you go through that moment and kind of like explain to us what you guys were talking about leading up to that? And then when you got your medal, what your thought was?
There really wasn't any discussion prior to it, so I don't know. At least for me, I didn't come there to finish second place. Nobody did, and that's in no way a slight to our competitors or anybody that we're playing or anybody that didn't get a chance to play for that medal. But as competitors, I feel like the expectation is to come there and win, and I also feel like with baseball, that's not something that we're super accustomed to. I don't really remember getting like a runner up or like on field presentation for second place since like Little League. So I just kind of felt a little bit weird. And, I obviously finishing second isn't why we came there. The silver medal is still, something that was, I'm sure, desired by a lot of teams. But that had been just kind of our discussion like throughout the whole time. It's like, the target felt like it was kind of on our back, and, we had every intention of, living up to that and winning the gold, but unfortunately weren't able to. So I think it was just some in moment, disappointment that kind of showed out there. But, like I said, not any slight towards, the other team, the competitors, or anybody that fell short.
All right. Can you shed some light on the availability? Because we found out after the game that you were available you were available to save the game if you guys were winning. Kind of feels like an oxymoron. If you're winning, the game would be over as the home team. So can you shed some light on your actual availability for that game?
Yeah, I mean, going into the tournament, just talking with the Padres, the plan was to not go 3 out of 5 at all. And AJ said to me, he was like, hey, so if you pitch in the quarterfinals and the semifinals, you're cool with not pitching the finals. And I just told him at that point, like, hey, we'll just cross that bridge when we get there. Hopefully that doesn't come to that. So of course it did through the quarterfinals, semifinals. I'm sure he knew I was going to call him and ask. We talked to the pitching guys here too, and they trusted me, and I told them I felt good, and they said we're okay with you being available for a save only, which I agree. Looking back, save only, like, that's always a tough part. Like, closer pitches a tie game normally at home, but also during the season, unless it's September, probably if you've had your closer go 2 of the last 4 days, you're probably going to run somebody else out there in a tie game in the ninth. The save only verbiage is pretty common, so I don't think it was super surprising. I was just glad that they allowed me to be available, because I fully expected it to be a no, because that's how we came into the tournament. But obviously would have loved to get the chance to pitch, but we're surrounded by a lot of guys down there that, are best at what they do as well. So, I don't think that, there was a bad option down there. But obviously I would have liked to be in that game too.
Yeah, of course. Well said. No, helpful explanation. Yeah, and Garrett Whitlock and company, not too shabby. We had some good arms down there for Team USA. I know it hurts, but thanks for the explanation. And also, dude, great start to the season. Love the entrance. So let's roll that. Great choice. And thanks for joining us, dude. Great to see you.
Guys, appreciate y'all. Nice to see you.
Appreciate you. Talk soon. That's Mason Miller. And Friar Territory has your Padres coverage. They had Tim Kirkjian on the show recently. Marty and Darren running point. They're awesome. Go check it out. It's part of the FT Network. Give them a subscribe. We'll be right back. Hey, it might be time to have a heart-to-heart with your phone and be like, I love you, but you cost too much.
Yeah, I'm not paying this much anymore. That's it. I mean, why would I go more than $15 a month? Mint Mobile can give that to me, and I get all the same coverage.
Exactly, and you don't have to deal with the crazy bogus fees or free perks that actually end up costing more. Mint Mobile plans for premium wireless start at just $15 a month. And all plans come with high-speed data and unlimited talk and text delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. If you like your money, Mint Mobile is for you. Shop plans at mintmobile.com/territory. That's mintmobile.com/TERRITORY. Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month 5 GB plan required, equivalent to $15 a month. New customer offer for first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See Mint Mobile for details. Hey, what do you guys have on Carlos Estevez? If you look at the pitching chart here, the blown save on Saturday led to a great moment, which we'll get to later for Dom Smith, the grand slam walk-off, but 6 earned runs charged to his account. The velocity was down, and Kratz, I heard Matt Quatraro, the Royals manager, talking about it. He said his velo was down spring training last year, and then it pumped back up. It just didn't happen this time. Some guys kind of save it, and you want some guys to do that, but in this case, it wasn't in good shape. And then also, it sounds like he's got an ankle contusion. He was in a boot yesterday morning, Sunday morning. So what do you do here?
I mean, you got to keep running him out there, but maybe with a little bit of a shorter leash. I mean, the fact that he gave up 6 earned runs, that's tough. Great for Dom Smith. But the fact that they do have Lucas Erceg that can come out of that bullpen, I think he's legit in the 8th inning. So he got the save yesterday, but I think it's something that rarely would you have a season like Carlos Estevez had last year and go, you know what? We need lower leverage situations. But when you have that drastic of a velocity change, okay, well, we need to get you going here. I get it. Like spring training, it was the same way. We need to get you going. Where do you get them going at? I don't know. I mean, that's between Quatraro and Estevez, where it's like, no, I need that adrenaline from the 9th inning. Or, hey, be honest with me. Is something hanging? Are we feeling a little ill here?
That's the issue. The 5 miles per hour is the tough part for me.
That's a lot.
Yep.
You might say it's early, but this might be one of the better rookie classes that we have ever seen in the game's history. We can't project every player's future, but I'm talking about impact right now, because you have guys like Kevin McGonigal, JJ Weatherholt. You're forgetting because he made his debut last year, but Sal Stewart's still a rookie. Nolan McLean we'll talk about, of course, as the season goes on. Chase DeLauder put on a show. We'll talk about him in a moment. The reason, Kratz, why I think it could be one of the better classes is that you do have guys who are designated as rookies, even though they have prior pro seasons. And I know it was a tough start for Tatsuya Amai, but Okamoto looks super legit, especially with the bat for the Blue Jays. And Murakami hit 3 home runs already for the White Sox. Did the White Sox actually make a move that nobody else did and should have in terms of giving some money to Murakami? I mean, I think most of the league kind of looked at him and swiped him away. Yeah, they did. I mean, he received so much less money than people anticipated. And I know he ended up taking a shorter term deal, but even if he took a longer one, it was going to be nowhere close to what most people thought he was going to get.
Correct. And the White Sox got it. But how many of those homers were on what people said he struggles with? 95 plus. It's hard to hit a home run in the big leagues. And I think AJ and I both talked about it. He could end up with 35 plus. But I don't know that the league necessarily missed on this guy. Watching his swing path, he's going to have to figure out how to maybe cheat to the heater a couple times. Todd, anybody can cheat to a heater. Like, to me, if he's able to get a couple, if he's able to pump a couple at 95 plus, now all of a sudden, okay, now you got a guy who's able to just punish mistake off-speed pitches in the zone, punish that weak comeback sinker that stays middle. So to me, yeah, I get it. People looked over him, but let's make sure he can consistently hit what a lot of bullpens are throwing out there. A lot of starters are throwing out there. So, but man, what a freaking start. 3 dingers in your first 3 games. That works.
Wow. I mean, haters gonna hate Scotty? I mean, I don't know. The guy's got 3 games in his book, and this guy ain't giving him credit right now.
Only 3 homers in those 3 games.
I mean, the dude's on pace for 160 due.
Mm-hmm.
But Kratzy, he talks all that, I want to see this and that. But, hey, congratulations on a great game, man. Hey, listen, it's fantastic.
That's why we do a show, though. Say it with your chest. Sometimes you guys are right.
Yeah.
You guys called out a couple guys
we did.
That were new on the scene and got a lot of flack for it, right? I'm trying to remember who they were. I think the main one may be Roki, Sasaki. You guys were a little shaky on.
Yeah. I was.
Yeah.
He got beat up the first game, but now he's figuring it out, in my opinion.
Who, Roki?
The right-handed pitcher, no?
Roki? Are you talking about? No, Yamamoto's a dude.
I was wrong about Yamamoto.
Yamamoto, yeah.
That's what I was talking about.
Right.
Sorry.
And while we're on all these, players coming over from Japan, it is hard to project sometimes.
It is. It's
But
very hard.
When they hit, they really hit.
And they do.
And I think that both of them are going to be good players in very different ways. Okamoto might hit 285. Murakami might hit 220. But
listen,
what do you see?
I see a ball player. I see a guy that he's talking about 35 plus. I'm saying 40. I think he has it in him. Kratzy, I don't think you're wrong. It's just the way you came out a little hard. And I say hard like that, hard. Like, hey, give this man some credit. He hit a Brewers club with 3 homers. I don't care what they're throwing up there. He had 3 bing-bings, okay? Let's see how consistent he is. Okay, deal, fine. Shake your hand. We'll move on. But give my man a little slack here, dog. That's 3 homers in his first time playing in USA. That's the USA. So give my man some slack. Chicago, stand up for the guy. Let's go.
Yes, Chicago, you guys need to definitely stand up for your guy. I completely apologize. That is so neat. He hit 3 home runs. The question, Todd, was, is he going to be able to sustain it? And the question has to be answered over a longer term. The fact that he can hit the ball out of the ballpark with ease. Everybody knew that. 80, I think somebody put an 80 power grade on him. Like, that's legit power. You're talking about top 10 power guys in the league if it's an 80 power. And he showed it. Like, he showed it in Milwaukee. He showed it in the situations that he hit it in. But when you go to Okamoto up in Toronto, to me, what is a more valuable season? If Kazuma hits 25 homers and hits 290, or if Murakami hits 210 and hits 40 homers. To me, I take the 40 homers because 2 for 4, what's the score, in my opinion? But
I like that.
It's one of those things that, who do you look at when you watch a swing path, when you watch the approach at the plate and you get to see 15, 20 at-bats compared to 150 at-bats, and who's going to come out on top as the better hitter. That's what's exciting about this first week. We can overreact like crazy.
Yeah, of course. And now, so I remember Murakami, he signed what, a 2-year deal?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, yeah, I'm taking Okamoto, of course, because he's going to be on the winning ball club too. This team's going to make the playoffs.
You're saying for a rookie of the year?
No, I'm just saying.
Or just overall?
Overall. Like, who wouldn't want Murakami or Okamoto on the team? But Murakami's playing for himself. Chicago's not going to make the playoffs. He's basically playing for himself. So every homer he hits, that's more money he's going to make after these next 2 years. So he needs to keep that rate going and not worry about the wins and losses, which is sad to say. But, if we're going individualized with both of these, I would want Okamoto because he's with a winning ball club.
4 years, 60 mil, totally different player. Player. Right? One's a first baseman, one's playing third right now.
Look at Kratz. He's got something on his mind.
So he has – I want this, though. This is why we do this. I want you to call stuff out, and if you're wrong, you're doing a show every day, then let him hit 40 homers and be a 5-win player or whatever he is, then awesome. That's great, okay? But if Kratz says everybody's going to be amazing, then this is not the right network for you. So what about Okamoto?
I think his approach, I forget which at-bat it was. He took a walk. And it was a borderline pitch. A guy that is, it looks like his approach is gap to gap. It looks like he has a very, not advanced approach because Murakami has an advanced approach. And in the big leagues, you walk because guys are afraid of you, not because, this guy just can't find the zone. Those are few and far between. And to me, Okamoto has the ability, and he showed it going oppo in that situation. Taking the walk later in the game. I wish I remember who it was against. It's my fault, but it's one of those things. To me, I feel like the numbers, the money that they got, that each of those guys got right now, just watching them against big league pitchers, is about right. I obviously the defense for Okamoto is there too. So it's it's fun. It's fun to watch. I made a bold prediction, and people might say I'm an idiot because I have a 205 career batting average. But in 2018, I got to see Juan Soto and Ronald Acuna Jr. for the first time, and I said, "Whose career do you want more when they're done?" So I pose that question to anybody who has all these rookies that we're talking about here today. Whose career do you want more? And then you make the choice, and then it's fun because all these guys are young. Even the guys from Japan, they're going to be around here for 5-6 years. So yes, we had an awesome, fun weekend, but choose who you think is going to be the best based on the skill set. And I thought Juan Soto was going to have a better career. So far, Acuna's showing me that, hey, you know what? Athleticism and the ability to win MVP and 50, 70, whatever, 40, 70, so I don't think that jury's out yet, but I think these are the discussions that are fun to have from a baseball sense, not just neato, gang, he went 4 for 5.
Well, you started it, so let's finish with this last minute here. Chase DeLauder hit 4 home runs in his first 3 games. A big reason why the Guardians ended up splitting a series with the Mariners. He ended up breaking the no-hit bid from Emerson Hancock, who looks different this year too. We can cover that a different day. But pick one guy out of the billion rookies that shined so far in the first few games. Who do you want long-term? If you're in a draft right now, which guy do you want?
I want Chase DeLauder long.
Really? Yeah?
I do. Seeing him, he dropped the fly ball in the playoffs last year. First guy come up, got a knock. They didn't win. The fly ball didn't hurt him. But to see him come back and just keep battling, putting a smile on his face and doing what he's doing now, that would be long-term for me, Chase DeLauder, for sure.
That's the swing for you? Okay. Yep. Kratz?
That's a nice swing. It's a nice swing. It's not like the most beautiful swing, but, man, he does some really, really good things. I'm taking Kevin McGonigal. I think that there's short arms. If there's a trait, I want somebody to be 6'3" with 5'10" arms. Like, he's got short arms, just like Mason Miller just said. He's on the plate. He stays through the zone a long time, and he's got a quick bat. I just feel like guys who control the zone with a quick bat and aren't only trying to do damage but can do damage, they have a long, sustained career.
And one we haven't talked about because he's not up yet is old Connor Griffin.
Oh yeah.
Oh, my God.
We haven't seen him yet, but we will.
Well, get his hiney up there. Let's go. What are
we will. We're going to see him.
No. Why? Talk to me. Why? Why not?
Because I hate the Pirates.
Why not?
That's what it is. Twitter thinks I hate the Pirates. That's why he's not. No, the reason he's not up there is because he didn't accept his $100 million extension. That's why he's not up there. That dude should be playing in the big leagues and should be learning in the big leagues.
Bingo. He's going to come up as soon as he's eligible for them to get the extra year, because with this rookie class, I think the chance of him winning NL Rookie of the Year is lower, or being top 2, whatever it is, for them to get the pick. So once you take that out of the equation, they just want him up in the bigs as quick as possible. And one last shout out, Owen Casey also looked really good. You forget that he's a rookie since he had some time last year, but part of that Edward Cabrera trade. Let's get to the Brewers next with Curt Hogg. A big injury for them, but also a big weekend for them.
This one's for the dudes looking for that peak bedroom performance. Blue Chew just dropped their newest innovation, Blue Chew Gold.
Blue Chew is the #1 chewable ED brand. And yes, Blue Chew Gold dissolves under your tongue and works in as little as 15 minutes. Peak passion and peak performance in a single tablet. See why millions of men trust Blue Chew now with a gold standard upgrade that is changing the game for good. Make life easier and discover your options at BlueChew.com. And we have a special deal for the FT fam. Get 10% off your first month of Blue Chew Gold with code FOUL. That's promo code FOUL. Visit BlueChew.com for more details and important safety information. And we thank Blue Chew for sponsoring the podcast. This is the future of performance. Faster, smarter, and precision engineered for results. 2 ingredients for blood flow with apomorphine and oxytocin to turn up the arousal and connection in your brain and body. It's Blue Chew.
And then top of the 6th, 2-run jack from Aaron Judge. Reminded me a lot of that home run he hit in the playoffs, right down the line. He kind of stood there watching it. 405 feet, 109.1 off the bat, and then Giancarlo Stanton went down and got an off-speed pitch and hit his first home run of the season, 108 miles an hour off the bat, 414 feet. So good day for the two big guys. I wonder if we're finally going to get that Stanton and Judge full season of mashing that we were envisioning when they traded for Giancarlo. I saw prime Roger Clemens. I saw prime Randy Johnson, prime Pedro, prime Curt Schilling. I watched Kerry Wood's 20 strikeout game live. Cam Schlittler has that kind of stuff. Cam Schlittler has ace stuff, and not just ace, but like ace of aces. He's got every bit the stuff that Paul Skeens has. The entire pitching staff was positively filthy today. We got a comment here from Bran1886 that says, Doval was nasty. Yes, Camilo Doval was positively disgusting today. Absolutely disgusting. And I think what we're starting to see is the culmination of years of Matt Blake and the pitching lab, putting things together and figuring out ways to make these guys better. The sinker from Doval was unbelievable.
Journal Sentinel reporter and the host of our new Brewers show, which we're very excited about, Brewer Territory. Curt, great to have you on. More of the same, basically, from the Brewers going back to the last regular season. So sum up what you saw, and you can, of course, include the great comeback win for them over what, some people think is going to be a better White Sox team, but the Brewers made them look like they were a level down.
Yeah, you said it. It was more of the same. They kind of were pesky for 3 straight games. They drew 10 walks on opening day. They put up, I think, 6 runs then in the second game, and then obviously had a 6-run 8th inning yesterday. Christian Yelich with the big homer. It wasn't just the homer, though. It was Sal Frelick having 9 pitch at-bats. It was Blake Perkins, drawing a walk in a big spot. Luis Rengifo getting that 8th inning to Christian Yelich with a big hit. So This is what we saw from them last year when they won 97 games. So it's not entirely surprising considering the lineup's basically the same as last year, but it was still an impressive offensive performance. You can put the White Sox caveat on there, but look, like they threw good arms. Shane Smith's a good arm. Kay from the left side looked good. They've got some nasty dudes in the bullpen. So, what else do you want them to do besides beat up on the White Sox?
Yeah, that's very true. I want to talk about one guy in particular, the Miz. Talk about him a little bit and explain how the Brewers, if he gets performances like that, it's going to be a really good season for them.
Yeah, and the crazy thing, and Corey Knable and I were talking about this on our live show after opening day on Brewer Territory, was like, he struck out 11 guys. He gave up 1 run on the leadoff homer, and it wasn't even the most dominant or even close to the most dominant we've seen from his pure stuff. There was some bouts with the control a little bit. We've seen that with him. The fastball wasn't quite popping at 100, 101. He was kind of living in that 97, 98 range and still got, I think, like 19 or 20 whiffs on the fastball. So I think that's an encouraging sign because there's going to be a lot on this guy's shoulders this season. It's a young, inexperienced rotation. We saw that with Brandon Sproat in Sunday's game. He got hit around pretty hard. So Miz is going to have to find ways to be a pitcher, to work deeper into games, and maybe not always just overpower guys with 100 and find different ways to slice and dice you up.
All right, Christian Yelich, you mentioned his big 3-run homer that put him over the top in the 8th. He's 6 for 10 for the weekend. I know we're a lot of overreactions, but my question to you is, starts out 6 for 10. Is there a world where he's a more successful player if he only plays 135 games? And will Christian Yelich allow Murph to only put him in for 135 games? Or is it fine if he just plays 162 and see if he blows out?
I think it's somewhere in the middle, 135 for a guy like Yelich who takes his role seriously, takes his contract in Milwaukee seriously. If he's healthy, it's not going to be 160, but whether it's pinch hit opportunities like the one he had yesterday or just, playing at DH just about every day, he'll probably land in the 145 to 150 range. They like to find their days for him. When they're healthy, they have plenty of depth, so you can pick a spot against a lefty here, pick a spot there, and you don't have to play him in the field too much. But it's interesting because, like, this spring, this maybe goes to show you how much spring training matters. Actually, it definitely goes to show you how much spring training matters to veteran guys like this. He was searching for it, like going back between the old leg kick. Kratz, you know that one. You saw that one up close, the leg kick, and then he's been doing the toe tap recently. So he was kind of workshopping with Dan Vogelback, like, what do I want to do here? And it didn't look good this spring. The timing was off. He had, I think, like 2 hits all spring, and then it comes up with maybe what's going to be the moment of the regular season already on day 3 with the homer, and you kind of saw some of that like, I don't know if it's frustration, but like there was some emotion on the homer yesterday where he had the bat drop. He kind of just stared at it, stared into the dugout, and you don't see that a ton from him. So it clearly meant something to him to hit that homer yesterday.
Every one of the games means something to Christian Yelich. That's why the dude's played for years with back pain and finally needed to get back surgery. But anyway, we're going to go on to other injuries. Andrew Vaughn now out with the hamate. And obviously Jackson Chourio out. Is there a world where there's an injury to this lineup that says, ugh, like this is a little too much? Because when Jackson Chourio's out, I don't care who you put in there. Blake Perkins can't be Jackson Chourio for an entire season. But is there a world where they say, okay, this injury is the one that's going to break our back? Because now they're calling up a third catcher. Gary Sanchez hits a homer on Sunday. So you're like, of course, everything can just continue to go the Brewers' way.
Yeah, I mean, I think the way this offense is there's no singular injury that would break them. Jet, when you have Churio down and when you have Vaughn down, it's at that point where you're like, okay, if one of these guys goes down and you start to think about, some of the spots where they don't have as much depth, whether it's Bryce Terang or William Contreras, those are probably the two biggest guys where it's like they need them as much as they can to play as much as they can, and those guys have been generally healthy so far. That's where this offense is at. But like you said, Kratz, this is the Brewers. I think they're like 22-8 with Churio on the injured list the last 2 years. Some of that is, good luck, and some of it is this is what happens. They have a system in place, and you call the next guy up, and somehow, some way, you just keep winning ball games by a combination of the way they play offense and base running and good defense, and then generally good pitching.
Was the Jackson Chourio IL stint a surprise because of the fact that it happened in their exhibition WBC games, and then all of a sudden, bang, we're right at the start of the season, and he goes on the IL?
Yeah, this wasn't great. Not great. Because, we were down in spring training asking Murph about it, and he was joking. I should use air quotes with that because I don't know how much of it was really a joke, where he was like texting Venezuelan or the front office or whatever, send him home. And at the time they did x-rays on the hand and there was nothing. Then he came back to the Brewers spring training at the very end, did x-rays, all seemed like a bruise, but further imaging for all the doctors in the house revealed a hairline fracture, and they didn't do that until after the exhibition games last week when his hand started to hurt. So yeah, definitely a surprise, and definitely, like it's not the WBC's fault that he got hurt. This stuff's going to happen in a spring training game. Guys are going to get hit in the hand. He did get hit in a spring training game. It was an exhibition game against, I think, the Nationals. So uh, th this stuff is going to happen, but it's not optimal that he then played 3 weeks on it from a Brewer standpoint. Obviously, I think if you're asking Churio or anyone from Venezuela, they're like, yeah, that's a fair trade-off. We won the whole thing. It's just a couple weeks in Milwaukee, but I'm sure the Brewers aren't super thrilled that he kind of played through it all, and then they found out that it's actually fractured.
All right, let's go to Kyle Harrison, the big piece that was brought over in the trade for Freddie P. I'm sorry, for the trade for
Durbin.
yes, for Durbin.
It's okay. It's a lot of trades. A lot of trades to keep track of.
There was a lot of trades, but Kyle Harrison has more pressure on him if he was traded for Freddie P. So sorry about that, Jet Williams and Brent Sproat. But Kyle Harrison's starting tonight. And this first start, is there any indications that Chris Hook, the pitching coach, has given you in the sense of like, what do they need to see from him that would say, okay, there's a successful month of spring training that he's adopted X, Y, or Z?
So much of it for the Brewers and with Hook comes down to not necessarily what you see on the mound, but what you see in the 4 or 5 days in between. The preparation, the work, the routine, like how do you react to failure? I mean, like frankly, that's something they'll need to see from him in the first 2 months as well. They're going to see it with Brandon Sproat right now. Um, this feels very similar to 2019 when it was Burns, it was Woodruff, it was Peralta, and out of those three guys had really bad years. Corbin was sent down to the minors, gave up a billion home runs, and Freddie went down to the minors as well, and those guys responded. And now the Brewers have a little more of a system in place of how to win games, how to develop these guys, and that's not to say that Kyle Harrison and Brandon Sproat are going to end up like Woody and Peralta and Burns, because that's a pretty dang high bar to clear, but they want to see them get through the season, get through the work, get through the failure in a similar way to some of the guys that have done that for them in the past and then ended up having success, whether that was Ashby or Quinn Priester or Woody or Burns. Like all these guys failed at some point and then turned out to be really good pitchers.
And that is definitely true. My question to you now, forget about players-wise, I'm talking about teams, the NL Central. Talk a little about that. How do you see the Brewers stacking up? I know they went 3-0 against a team that wasn't very good. They got some big games coming up. Talk to me about, what do you think their likes are of being the top again?
It feels like we're doing the same thing over and over with the Brewers and the Central, where they kind of don't have the flashiest offseason. They don't have the flashiest offseason. It feels like they give away more than they get back. And then we look up in August and they're in a great spot. And that's kind of what I'm expecting again this year. The Cubs have, you look at that roster and on paper, it's a pretty dang good roster and they should be able to make some noise. We'll see. We'll see on the Pirates. We'll see on the Reds. But it feels like it boils down to a two-horse race again at this point. Again, yeah, we don't want to read too much into a 3-0 start against the White Sox, but the Brewers did look a lot in those 3 games like they did last summer when they were, beating the world. So that's what I'm expecting. I'm expecting those two teams, and it will be tricky to see, like, if the Pirates, I think there's a lot of upside there, but can you hang? Can you hang with a team that has such a winning pedigree for 6 months? That's tricky.
I'll tell you this, the start for the Brewers sure beats the start for the Brewers last year, the torpedo series for them when they were torpedoed by the Yankees. So this is much rosier. They're already putting together a much friendlier weekend for their fans coming off, the sweep of the White Sox. Okay. My question to you is about something we didn't really get to hit last week. It came out amidst a million other things around opening day. Mark Attanasio, owner of the Brewers, said they're losing about $20 million with the switch over to working with MLB on their broadcast rights this year versus what they were going to get from the Main Street Sports Group. How much do you think that hurt the Brewers when they were going through their offseason, or do they not even really factor that into the way they do off seasons anymore? I know this isn't going to be a topic probably until September, October, either if the team misses the playoffs or if they get bounced and don't win a World Series. But if I'm a Brewers fan and I feel like this is our winning window to win, and I know some Brewers fans go crazy about this, but I think they should put the pedal to the metal. I want that one other starter that would have cost me that kind of 20, 30 million bucks that can win you a few playoff games in October.
Yeah. The answer we got on opening day when this came up was like, oh, well, that affected your offseason, right? And the answer was not really, because the way the Brewers operate, they're unsurprisingly in a great spot organizationally in terms of finances and the value versus the debt and all that sort of financial mumbo jumbo. But Look, the Brewers didn't do a whole heck of a lot in terms of using any sort of financial muscle this offseason. Yeah, they extended the qualifying offer to Brandon Woodruff and a $22 million salary for a starting pitcher in Milwaukee. That's not nothing. That's the most they've ever paid a starter over a single season. But look, you look at their offseason and their payroll went up like 5, 6-ish million, which was like 4 or 5% up from last year. That's not quite on par with what we usually see from teams that made it to the NLCS. You get that long playoff run, you get a little more revenue, and teams generally bump their payroll somewhere like 9, 10%, I think it was when I ran some of those numbers this offseason. So whether it affected them or not, they say no, and that's kind of all we have to go off. But I think you're right, Scott, that coming off an NLCS appearance, you don't have to mortgage necessarily the future. You don't have to blow it up and make, or not necessarily blow it up, blow up the farm system and make all these all-in trades. That's not how they operate. But there are certainly ways to flex a little more finances. And the Brewers are, look, they're the smallest market in baseball. They'll tell you that. They punch above their weight compared to some other teams, and for sure we got to give them credit on that front. But whether it's like go trade for Luis Robert or sign Harrison Bader. It's just those just a couple of examples that come to mind. They clearly were not in a incredible financial spot this offseason, and maybe some of that was due to the TV, and maybe some of it was due to this is sort of just how they operate.
All right, can you glean a couple of your favorite parts of the article? I guess, is that cannibalism? If you like your own favorite parts of a column that you wrote, no, that's like wordism, whatever it is about,
it's just
how
ego. That's what it
just
is.
Ego. That's what it is. Cannibalism is not the same thing. Okay, good. Basically it says how Sal Frelick's war cry has come to define the Brewers.
Yeah. I mean, like, my favorite parts weren't anything I wrote. It was talking to Sal yesterday after the game. Like, the players were all kind of hanging out, and I waited him out a little bit, and then come up to him. And he's just talking about how he's yelling, drag him with you. And it's like quintessential Sal, basically. And it's just interesting that, like, this not only works for the Brewers, but they have embraced it as an entire team, 1 through 9. Like, it's hard to have 9 guys buy into being Sal Frelick. And the Brewers, I think, like, mentally have 9 guys in the lineup that are basically buying into, they're not Sal Frelick. No one really is, but they are buying into the same mentality that he has at the plate, which isn't necessarily like the goal isn't to make you throw a billion pitches, but if we get behind, I'm going to make you throw a billion pitches. I'm just going to make you work. And that kind of, you can see how that applies to various areas of the Brewers as well. And like, you pay a little attention to these details and you start to see a little bit of how they keep outperforming what we think they're going to do year in and year out.
Well, I love it. Yeah, they've got great personalities there. We love talking to a lot of these Brewers guys. Curt, love talking to you. On the way out, want to shout out Brewer Territory. Curt and Corey Knable bringing it. There's the 2. Subscribe to it. Go check it out. Give them a subscribe right now, please. It's a brand new show. They're bringing it for you every single week, multiple episodes covering the team with the best record in the regular season last year. Curt, thank you. Appreciate you, man. We'll catch up soon.
Of course, fellas. Thanks.
Locks of the day, BetMGM. We're starting slow. We are starting slow.
I thought I had it.
We all whiffed.
That's
What happened to you? Was that on
They
the
won by
Dodgers?
1.
It was a 1 run. Okay.
Yeah, that's all right.
All right.
Hey, get them out of the way now. And
Yeah.
I'm betting big this year. I'm putting it out. Every game's gonna be 300 plus.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm trying to make.
balling?
I'm trying to make over 10 G's this year.
Wow. Kipnis does that when he's on, but
Yeah.
he's not on enough to really make enough money. You can.
Yeah,
So
well, it
make
is-
us some money today.
I was talking with Claude one of our most famous producers out there.
Yeah.
I wanted to do 2 bets, but I know I can't do that because if I win one and lose one, I still get a 1-for-1, and that'll go in. But
if you parlay it, it's a loss.
I know, exactly. I don't want to parlay. I don't want to be like Kratzy and lose all the time. So my thing is, I took one out of the 2. Okay, so I'm taking the Reds money line today. I wanted to take the under in the Reds game too. They're playing the Pirates.
Okay.
Burnsy's on the mound. Chase Burns, right? First name Chase. I feel like he's going to have a really good year this year. I feel like it's going to be a 3-2 game. I feel like it's going to be 4-3, 3-2, something like that. And it was going to go under 8 runs because both teams haven't scored that many. So for me, I'm going to take the Reds money line. They're at home. I feel like it's going to be a close game, but it's going to be under 2. But I got to take one. Red legs big. I'm going 550 to win 400.
Wow.
Minus 135 or 130, excuse me.
130. So then that would not be 550 to win 400. Or would it? Or maybe you're right.
650 to win 500. Excuse me.
That sounds more like it. Yes.
And I messed that one up too, Claudia.
Got it.
That's why it's where I'm at.
650 to win 500. Boom. All right. Kratz, you're up next.
I'm going to go with money line. I'm going to take the Blue Jays winning. Got Cody Ponce on the hill. They get another home game. And I'm going to take the not the Dodgers. I took the
Cubs.
Now I'm forgetting.
Cubs. You took the Cubs.
Thank you.
Money line. Yes.
Thank you. Cubs money line, Blue Jays money line. Parlay that together for plus 110.
And I've got Blue Jays. They got to win by 3 or more. It's a tall task, but the Rockies are coming to town, getting swept by the Marlins. Going to run into a juggernaut in the Jays tonight, and it's been sold out and packed there. There's your MLB odds boost token to score yourself a bigger payout. Go check out the BetMGM app or BetMGM.com for more information. Get after it tonight. Gambling problem or concern? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Yeah, that's what he said.
That's what he said.
That's what he said.
That's what he said.
We have some good ones. Both of them revolve around booing and slow starts. So we're going to hit Tony Vitello and Bo Bichette. We'll start with Vitello. There is a microscope on him because of where he's coming from. In the modern game, we have not seen a college coach jump from there to the big leagues as a manager. And he happens to be jumping to a team that's, they're okay. They've been 500-ish, I feel like, for a minute, right? Since 2021, I think, was their big year for the Giants, where they overtook the Dodgers for the division. But anyway, they got swept, dusted by the Yankees, like a clean sweep. Never looked like they had a shot. They scored a run in the series. Vitello, and this from a producer out in San Francisco, Steven Risotto, posted this, works for 95.7 The Game. He posted this about Vitello. He said, mentioned the emotion level for the Giants was too high, for perhaps from a speech he made a few days ago to start off the season. Robbie Ray and Heliot Ramos downplayed it. Ray said, we're all major league players. Ramos mentioned the fact that it's just been 2 games. And obviously, eventually it became 3 games and a sweep. But still, your thoughts on the Giants starting slow and how much Vitello is going to get scrutinized for every word he said. He already has said he is unfiltered and he is going to stay that way. I respect him for that. I want to hear his honest take. My only thing is he playing this up too much? Like in college, if you get swept early on, it means more because they play like a third of the games.
Oh, it means a lot more. It means, oh my God, this might be the end of the world. No, but I'm fortunate enough for
He's
Tony.
not used to losing too.
No, fortunate enough for Tony. I feel like he wants to come out of his shell and do, get the boys going and do some chants and rah-rah stuff. It's just not going to happen. It is what it is. And, I mean that with the best of my heart. 0-3, he wants – I honestly, and I'm with the Yankees. I work for the Yes Network. I honestly want him to win a game so he can get one and say for his family, the first game I ever won was against the New York Yankees. Honestly, that's what I felt inside. And then on the other side, I'm like, Yankees need to win. So – unfortunately for him, he didn't get the win. Now he's probably, off day or whatever, and now he's coming back like, okay, man, I need to find a way to get a win so I can breathe a little bit. And I think that's what the problem is right now. Getting off the schneid and getting that first win for him, I think he's going to get, be able to breathe a little bit better. The boys might do something fun for him, but it's a different San Francisco team, man. I don't know. They didn't really look too good to me at all. No. So
Yankees pitching's really good. Yankees are they're fast starters, Todd. You know, right? Like everything was cranking.
Cam Schlitter looked filthy.
He looks
I don't want to
number
go on
one.
a tangent of the Yankees because I'll get yelled at, but they looked absolutely insane, and Giants just had nothing for them.
No, the offense was not there. They picked up some guys, Bader, Rise, some others in the offseason, some pitching, but the hitting was the problem too. They were completely shut down by the Yanks. Here's the deal too, Kratz. They're about to go to San Diego for a 3-gamer. Then they're back home to take on the Mets and the Phillies, and then they're on the road for the Orioles. That's the start of their season. That is a rough schedule to start the year in terms of opponents. So it might not look pretty. And hey, the Giants were pretty bad last year and then came on strong towards the end of the season, right? They almost snuck in towards the end. I think they finished maybe like 2 or 3 games out. But anyway, your thoughts on all of this. And I think the main response I want to get from you is to what Todd Father said about doing the rah-rah, and that just doesn't work. Because that's the key here is if you're a college coach and you're successful, do you bring the same game plan to the major leagues, or do you have to severely adjust the way that you operate from a personality perspective?
Why do you have to change? They hired you. They didn't hire – if they wanted somebody different, they would have hired somebody that didn't need to change their personality. Buster Posey – there's very few GMs, front office guys that I would be like, whatever he says, I'm on board with. Buster Posey's one of them, though. And this is an overreaction to what's happened so far this year. 3 games. Like you can't overreact too much. But you also can't say, well, the manager is going to be the one that's going to change this whole thing. No, you hired him to be the guy that he is. So he has to come in and fully embrace who he is, and it's either going to work or it's not. You got to go down. You got to go down with your best punches. You can't try to like Gabe Kapler it and fake who you are. You have to be who you are, and when you do well, you're like, okay, it worked. And when you're not doing well, okay, it's not working. How can I adjust to the guys around me? I think that's why they brought him in. That Tony Vitello's not sitting here going, oh, I know everything there is about the big leagues. No, he's sitting here saying, this is who I am. The only part that was a little concerning to me was the fact that the answer from Elio Ramos and Robbie Ray was, we're big leaguers. Like, we got this. Like, he had a speech, and when you're losing, the speeches kind of get annoying. And when you're winning, the speeches are probably still annoying, but you can laugh them off and say, whatever, go for it, Tony. But you just don't want early in the season to be like, oh, great, here we go. Here's another speech. And Tony knows that. People act like, oh, he came from college. He doesn't even speak the language of Major League Baseball. No, like, he got this job. He will be fine. But the Giants have to swing the bat and connect with the baseball.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the thing, right? Where the Giants in the NL West,
easier.
they might be 3rd or 4th. That's part of the problem, too. He did mention how there's a little try hard right now. Again, like all of that stuff's early. You get more of like the by the book answer from many other managers. And he just said, like, he's just going to tell it like it is. If that's what he feels, he's going to say it, even if it's only been 2 or 3 games. Okay, let's move to Bo Bichette.
Wow.
Slow start, 1 series. Mets won the series. And what's happening? The Boo Birds out already. Bo had a great answer, in my opinion. Here it is.
No, if anything, I thought it took too long. But, I mean, I get it. I thought my bats were terrible, too, so.
Come on. How do you not love that?
It's a good answer because New York, they were waiting for something different. The old, I'm giving him my best shot. I feel good, and the answer I would give, I still feel good. I'm just missing the ball. Bro, I watched the game with my son. Like I said, I think he got 5 or 6 fastballs in one at bat, and he was either in between or late. And I'm like, ooh, he's not there right now. He's not there. And that was like the one at bat I saw like big time at, and then he had an opportunity to win the game in one of the extra innings. And Lindor, Soto, and he with bases loaded, nobody out, then 1 out, then 2 out, didn't do anything. And I'm like, oof, I texted my son. I'm like, not good. Like, I bust my son's chops because he's a big-time Mets
But
fan.
it's 5 minutes, and Bo Bichette's got the elite hit tool. He will be fine, right?
Well, pump the brakes, right? What are we going to say to Kratzy? Maybe I should be like Kratzy then and be like, man, yeah, no, swing's not there. He's not going to do good. He's going to do great. Sorry. He's going to do great now.
That's exactly what you just said. You got on me for being honest.
I was waiting for it.
You saw it. You saw the honest. He was late on the fastball. It's part of the season. Like, you can't go up in the big leagues and be like, you know what? I'm not feeling it. I'm just, I'm gonna be able to. I'll be fine. Like, I'll get hits. He knows. I heard John Kruk say it one time. He was like, nobody ever got booed in Philly as the home player because they were booing them, or in a situation where you weren't booing yourself. Like, Bo Bichette's not sitting there like, how could these guys be saying this? New York is a monster. No, it's not. Like, relax. Like, Bo Bichette is going to probably lead the league in hits. And I'll tell you why. Because unless he's injured, which I don't think he's injured, he is going to get pitches to hit. And he can hit pitches out of the zone. When he gets his timing going, he will be one of the better hitters, and he'll be up in the top 3 in hits in the league. I think he's going to lead the league in hits because of the fact that he has Lindor around him, that he has Juan Soto around him, that he has a lineup that is going to enable him to get pitches. He's going to swing at a lot of pitches. So Mets fans, pump the brakes when he swings at a bad pitch. It's okay. Because Bo Bichette's not going to walk. You're going to have Juan Soto hitting near him in the lineup, and you're going to be like, well, why doesn't he just do it like Juan does? Yo, I love Soto. He's always walking all the time. No, like, that's not Bo. He's going to get close to 200 hits. If not, he clips it this year. So you're going to have days where the swing and the timing of the pitches aren't quite there, and that's okay.
Yeah, he's going to be fine. Great answer. Just an A+ answer
solid.
To the crowd.
And if you're a Mets fan, you're like, all right,
respect.
I'll put a smile.
Yep, respect. Oh, you should have booed me sooner. That's good. That's like taking a shot, but for fun, in a way where you understand your fan base now. Okay, coming up next, let's talk Dodgers with Katie Woo, including the hot start for the team and the controversy. AJ, baseball season is finally here, and there's nothing like listening to the sweet sounds of the game while you're at home, enjoying some home cooking, whipping up a beautiful meal with HelloFresh, and there are many, many, many recipes to choose from.
I love those big portions, Scott. Over 100 mouth-watering recipes each week, including cuisines from around the world like some of my faves. Curried chicken and roasted sweet potato jumble, smoky chipotle beef burrito bowls, and sweet Thai chili salmon.
There's now 3 times the seafood for no upcharge. Impress guests or treat yourself with new grass-fed steak ribeyes.
So go to HelloFresh.com/FT10FM to get 10 free meals plus a free Zwilling knife, a $144.99 value on your third box. Offer valid while supplies last. Free meals applied as discount on first box. New subscribers only. Varies by plan. Because when dinner tastes this good, nothing hits like home cooking.
Chris Sale as the opening day starter was always going to happen unless he was unavailable to pitch, but that was made official this week, and it's his 7th time ever doing this. He has been, he's already a kind of French Hall of Fame player, and he's remarkable. So it's like a warm blanket to have Chris Sale on the mound on Friday. At least for me, I feel pretty good about that. Everything after that, we'll see. But Chris Sale being the opening day starter is encouraging and now official.
We will see, I think, is the official motto of the Atlanta Braves starting rotation for 2026. We will see. But as long as Chris Sale is healthy, we know this guy is going to be fantastic on the mound. And we saw it last year. I mean, after winning Cy Young in 2024, I think if Chris doesn't lay out and dive for that baseball against the Mets and doesn't break his ribs, he might have won Cy Young in back-to-back years. And God willing, let's hope for another 30 starts and 190 innings from Sale this year. It sure feels like the Braves are going to need him to stay healthy if they have any chance at staying atop the NL East and making a deep run into the postseason. And that's going to start on Friday. And a great recognition, a great honor for a very likely future Hall of Famer in Chris Sale. I believe they said it's his 7th opening day assignment, which is really impressive, just the longevity of his career. And hopefully Sale's able to go out there against a pretty decent Kansas City Royals team and give the Braves some good innings. And let's get a win and get this season on a better foot.
The newest member of Dodgers territory. She's been on the show now for about a month and change, but covering the team out there and covering the first real games for the Dodgers of the 2026 season. Katie Wu joining us right now. Katie, great to have you on and great to have you part of Dodgers territory. If you don't mind, I would like to start with the social media controversy, because one of the things that really made this network special is that we can cover what everyone's talking about online. The Dodgers winning, sweeping, all the festivities, that's all cool. Is there really a story to the team kind of switching things up for Edwin Diaz with a remix of the song and fans liking it or not liking it? Because online fans are going crazy. I just can't tell if those fans are bitter Mets fans. So your thoughts?
So I actually was not sure what the controversy was for a second, and I was like, oh my gosh, what did I miss? But now this makes more sense. Also, very nice to see you guys. I noticed no AJ Pierzynski yet again. Not surprised, just disappointed, but certainly very happy to be with you guys. Let's talk some Edwin Diaz. If I was a Mets fan, I would be disappointed too. So I get it. I'd be maybe a little bitter. I actually think the Dodgers entrance is really sick. They brought in Tatiana Tate, a Los Angeles-based musician. She works with Doechii, very accomplished, to do a live trumpet performance both nights. The bullpen catchers and the training staff, they actually brought in mini trumpets of their own, and they play kind of like how Mr. and Mrs. Met did as Edwin is running in. And the stadium loved it. I mean, I was excited as a objective member of the media to see Edwin Diaz come in the first time at Dodger Stadium. So I think it's really cool. I think the Dodgers might have more things planned. Edwin Diaz loved it. The team loved it. When you hear the first kind of drums, the beat drop, and you're just waiting for the trumpets, the lights go down, he's running in. Not since like Kenley Jansen, California Love, have the Dodgers had just insane entrance like that. So Mets fans, I get it. I do. But I don't think there's a lot of controversy here. I actually think the entrance is pretty electric.
I want to talk about Roki Sasaki coming in. Now, he's got his first start coming up. Spring training, wasn't the best. Do we look into this a little bit more, or is it just him trying to tinker with things, trying new pitches, maybe, not showing what he really wanted to do with his full arsenal? So this is a big one coming up here to kind of ease all Dodger Nation, a little bit.
Yeah, we're definitely, I usually am like, let's pump the brakes. Spring training is spring training. But this case is a little different. It was not a good spring for Roki Sasaki. And his troubles were kind of all over the place. It was an erratic command, couldn't establish the fastball. He's working on that third pitch to his arsenal, but that's really hard to do when you can't really command the first two pitches in your arsenal. Kind of out of sync, just kind of lost. Now, the Dodgers have the benefit of the doubt in saying we're the Dodgers and everything's fine. But let's read behind the lines. Roki Sasaki is making his first start today. There was never a question, even through all the trials and tribulations of spring, that he wouldn't be in the rotation. And I can understand a pitcher with that degree, that high of ceiling, should have every chance to be a starting pitcher in the big leagues. But we haven't seen Justin Robleski yet, for a reason. And the Dodgers have said that they're going to start the season with using kind of a 6-man hybrid rotation. Justin Robleski, very good spring, will be in that piggyback role. That is designed for in case Roki Sasaki looks like spring training, here comes Justin Robleski to the rescue. And the Dodgers have not said that. They've played it kind of coy, but let's read between the lines. Roki Sasaki threw a bullpen on Saturday, regularly scheduled. Do you know who else threw a bullpen on Saturday, gentlemen? Justin Robleski. So the Dodgers are right to say let's calm down. It's just spring training. We believe in Roki Sasaki. Of course, they're going to say that about their guy. But what's going on behind the scenes will tell you that, there is some concern, and they're also correct to do that, because if the Dodgers go out there and don't have a backup plan because Roki has really not given them anything to be confident about, then that's kind of just organization malpractice. So we'll see Roki Sasaki. If it does not go well, Dave Roberts will not hesitate to get to the bullpen for Justin Wroblewski. And the whole reason they had a hybrid pitcher kind of to start was because they weren't sure about Shohei Ohtani's pitching progression coming back from the WBC. The good news there, he's looked fantastic since coming back. So we should see a full strength Shohei on Tuesday, but they got to get through Monday first. And that's where Justin Wroblewski comes in.
All right. I'm big into conspiracy theories. So tell me if I'm wrong or way off, or I'm maybe pretty close on this one. Roki Sasaki came over from Japan. The Dodgers would love to keep their fingerprint, their stamp in Japan, bringing the best players over, because no other team really had a shot at getting Roki Sasaki, as much as everyone says. Do you feel like maybe this is an automatic, hey, he was going to start no matter what, because, hey, we don't want to ruin our foothold in Japan with other pitchers that are over there. If they see a player comes over, has a little bit of struggles, and then gets sent to AAA, this doesn't look good for us.
So I love a conspiracy theory too, but I don't think that's the case necessarily in this stance, because you look at where the Dodgers are. Sasaki coming back and doing what he did in the postseason, they don't have their second in a row World Series championship if Sasaki doesn't come out of the bullpen the way that he did. But 30 minutes after the Dodgers won the World Series, President of Baseball Operations Andrew Friedman was on the field at Rogers Center, got a question about what Sasaki's role will be next year, and he said, a starter. And the reason for that is, again, because of the potential, the high ceiling, the skill set. This is one of the best pitchers to come out of Japan. I think there was more hype around him than there was Yamamoto. Baseball's a crazy sport, because look at Yamamoto now. And that's given all of Yamamoto's accomplishments in Japan as well. But if you're the Dodgers and we're looking at the actual logistics of their rotation, Blake Snell is on the IL. Gavin Stone is on the IL. Outside of River Ryan, who had a great spring but is coming off of TJ, and the Dodgers are right to monitor his innings limit. He's in AAA right now. They don't really have a lot of depth in their rotation that they feel comfortable pushing in March and April. Now, the Dodgers do have a depth in general, especially compared to other teams. But with Snell and Gavin Stone out, that kind of puts the onus on Roki to be in the rotation no matter what, because they need him, especially with the aforementioned point of them not knowing what Shohei Ohtani would look like after the WBC. So day one of spring training, Dave Roberts, Roki Sasaki is going to be in the rotation. That was the same case after every single bad start, because quite frankly, they need him. They're lucky to have Justin Wroblewski available to be in that piggyback role, but you're doing everybody on the team, especially Sasaki, a disservice by not starting him and at least giving him 2 to 3 starts to prove that spring was an anomaly. If we're still having this conversation in mid-April and Justin Wroblewski looks as good as he did in spring, then I think it's pretty obvious to make that switch. But right now, given where each pitcher is in the Dodgers depth chart necessarily, it makes sense to have Sasaki come in the rotation.
Another guy, Will Smith. You talked a little about him on Twitter. It looks like here, X, excuse me. How clutch of a athlete he is, how awesome he is. And for me, I feel like people know about him, but do they really know about how good of a baseball player he is? I feel like it goes unnoticed, maybe because I'm on the East Coast and it's out on the West Coast. I know the West Coast knows, but talk a little bit about him and just how clutch this guy really is.
Yeah, I forget who said it after Saturday's game, but someone's asked if Will Smith was the most underrated clutch player in baseball. And I think there's a really good argument to be made there, because this dude, I think he's hit 53 go-ahead homers in the regular season in his career. And that's not even counting all of his postseason accolades. And we were talking to Will after the game, birthday, bobblehead. It's kind of just a given that he was going to have a game like that, go-ahead homer in the 8th, win the game. He was just like, I'm just calm in those situations. And I think Will Smith has an innate ability to slow the game down. And you're right that I think maybe it does go under the radar for a lot of baseball. Maybe it is the West Coast. Maybe it's just because of the amount of sheer stars on that team. But Will Smith is very much a member of that star group. And it goes just, again, under the radar, because maybe people just expect the Dodgers to do this. I know I certainly do. All 3 games, the Dodgers were trailing 2-0 at some point. The last 2 of the series, they were trailing 2-0 in the 8th. Guys, I didn't even start writing my story because I knew that lead wouldn't hold. That's just what the Dodgers do. they just win baseball games. And when you have a player like Will Smith, and honestly, it's kind of emblematic of the whole lineup. He's so patient. He spoils pitches. He trusts his swing. He has the speed where he can foul off, spoil off the off speed, and wait for the fastball because he knows his swing is fast enough to catch up to 100 when he gets it. That's kind of the Dodgers all around. They know their swing. They know what pitch they want, and they know they're going to get on base and score. And it just kind of takes all the pressure out of it. Will Smith is the perfect example of that.
All right, overreaction. Which is more of an overreaction? The Dodgers will win 120 games, or Kyle Tucker will hit below 230 this year?
Oh, Kyle Tucker he's a perfect Dodger. I mean, he's done everything that the Dodgers need him to do already. I love that moment for him on Friday's win, delivering that key hit to win the game, and then sets the table for the Edwin Diaz first save opportunity. The Dodgers could, though, very much. When you say 120, you're just kind of like, come on, nobody does that. And after 3 games, you're like, maybe this team can do that. But as far as what Kyle Tucker has brought, early returns, I mean, he is the number 2 hitter on the best lineup in baseball. And what that's really allowed to do is, I think Mookie Betts really enjoys being in the 3-hole now, and it's kind of slotted everybody down. Freddie Freeman is hitting 5th against lefties. That's never really happened in his career before. It just elongates that lineup and makes it so much more dangerous. I think we're going to see a huge year out of Kyle Tucker, and I think we're going to get baseball is going to, maybe 29 other fan bases are going to get very tired of seeing the same headline over and over, Dodgers win.
All right. Well, I want a little, for those in the podcast crowd, I'm drinking some water, but this is Katie Wu drinking the Kool-Aid in Dodger Stadium.
That's right.
You've been there for like 3 minutes, and you're already sounding like Alana Rizzo. But either way,
hear me out. I am watching a different level of baseball, and I have so much respect for the St. Louis Cardinals, where I spent the last 5 years, and they're rebuilding, and it's just a different quality of baseball, and I'm enjoying seeing come from behind wins. So we can circle back in May. Maybe Roki does have a horrendous April, or maybe that pitching depth isn't as deep as we think. Maybe some guys slump. I personally just don't see it. I'm high on life, guys. It's March 30th. Let's live a little.
I love that.
What is their weakness? What is their weakness? Because when you look at the lineup, as a I don't watch the Dodgers every day. You watch the lineup and you're like, I was feeling for Zach Gallen. Zach Gallen, I think, is a really good pitcher, but the first night he's out there and it's like, all right, we got this. And then Miguel Rojas gets a hit and you're like, oh crap, back to the top of the order again. So what is the weakness of this team?
Yeah, no kidding. Face that lineup 3rd time through at your own risk. Even Andy Pages is a star. But I think the weakness does go, it's health, specifically with that rotation. Blake Snell, I don't think there's a true timetable for him. Maybe mid-May earlier would be better for the Dodgers. But if you have one more starter kind of hit the IL or have a setback, it becomes a little dicey because they do have guys they can use. Again, you can use Wroblewski, and I think we're going to see him as a starter a lot. You can use River Ryan, but you really want to be cautious coming back from TJ, and you don't want to overuse him, especially early in the season when pitching injuries are the most common for that time of year. And Emmett Sheehan, I don't want to nitpick after one start, but the velo has been a little down, and hasn't been a lot of command or sustainability of the stuff. First inning has looked great. Second, third, fourth, the command or the velo has dropped a little bit. So if I'm nitpicking there, I think the weakness of this Dodgers team would be just making sure that the starting pitching stays healthy. Before the season started, I would have said the bullpen, but the bullpen is through 11 2/3 scoreless innings. So maybe not, but I do think it comes down to pitching health and keeping that rotation healthy, because if the rotation isn't healthy, you start overtaxing the bullpen. And that's what the Dodgers did last year. And it did create a lot of problems down the stretch for them. So it's kind of a cop out to say health because all 30 teams need health. But for this Dodgers team in particular, the rotation is so important. It has the potential to be one of the best they've ever assembled if they can stay healthy, because right now the depth is a little thinner than I think most people perceive.
All right, Katie, last question. We're at the end of March right now. Before you were in St. Louis. Compare St. Louis at the end of March to LA at the end of March. Is that why you have the glowing, effervescent smile that you have today?
No, I'm just happy to be here with you guys. Well, I did tan yesterday, so that probably helps. That's the biggest difference. I went to the beach on our random Sunday off day yesterday where that would not have been the case late March in St. Louis. But I do miss that town, and I'm excited for what's next here in LA, obviously. And yeah, I mean, I'm looking out right now, a little coastal breeze coming in through my open window. I would not have an open window for like 10 months out of the year in St. Louis. So there's a plus there.
Yeah, those are facts that go beyond baseball, and there's really not much that's going to change on that front. The weather is the weather. So, Katie, well, it's great to see you. Thank you for joining us. We'll be talking again soon, and everyone go check out Katie on Dodgers Territory and all the articles that she's rolling on The Athletic. Talk soon.
You got it, guys. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, Dodgers Territory with Clint, Alana, Katie, and many special guests throughout the season. They are so good at what they do. Part of the FT Network. So if you want more on the Dodgers, just reminding everyone, we have tons of shows on the FT Network. This is one of the originals, and it's great.
This episode is brought to you by Fox One. Go get that new app. Stream baseball, stream football, stream World Cup action. You'll be watching.
Oh, definitely. I can't wait. I actually want to try and get to a game. But while I'm there, I'll still have my Fox One app. I'll have MLB, the shows, the great shows that Fox has, college football that I love, college basketball. They have it all. This really is the app that you can get all of anything you want to watch on an app. Fox One has it, and they are great at it.
Yeah, the big sporting events. And by the way, the World Cup is June 11th to July 19th. You can get a free 7-day trial of Fox One, so go check that out. And you can start your 7-day free trial today. Offers are subject to change. Go to Fox One for complete terms and conditions. Fox One, streaming now.
Hey, we're back. We have a quick graphic to show everyone on the opening day rosters who was old and who is young. Talking about teams. Kratz, the oldest team is the Atlanta Braves. The youngest team, the St. Louis Cardinals.
And look at the LA Dodgers. Everyone's like, oh, they're middle of the pack. St. Louis Cardinals, good for you. You got rid of all your players. That's all that means. Atlanta's been building this roster. They're not, I wouldn't even say they're that old. I would not have said that, but they're all aging together.
Yeah, there just aren't many rookies on that team, right? If you get a few, well, there's one. How do you say, Didier Fuentes? He's 20, right? So he brings that average down. But then basically everybody else is dirt in their spikes. So that's a big difference there, and that includes even a more veteran bullpen, right? You just look up and down the board, and hey, Chris Sale obviously brings the number up. But yeah, I agree. I don't look at that team and go, oh, this team's old. I think a lot of the guys are or should be in their prime years when you go by the age meter in baseball.
It's like you said, it's the average age of the team. It brings it all up because they don't have those young guys. I'm sure the Padres, I didn't even see the Padres on there. I forgot to look at it. But talking to Mason Miller, I was like, in my head, I'm going through their roster. I'm like, they don't have a lot of young guys on there. I mean, I get it. Jackson Merrill's on there. Fernando Tatis isn't that old. But teams that want to win usually are going for those prime age veterans that will bring your age. I was surprised. The Phillies are one of the, I thought the Phillies would be one of the top old teams, but
they're top 10.
Top 5. They're top 10.
They're top 10. They look like they're 8 or 9. San Diego's right next to them. Texas, Yankees, Mets are also very old.
Show me the money.
Show me the money! Show me the money!
This one slipped in right after our show ended on Friday. Shane Baz, an extension with the Baltimore Orioles. So he's going to spend more time with the team. $68 million, 5 years. And it was funny when they talked to him, Kratz. He was like, no, you don't know me well yet, O's fans, but I'm going to bring it for you every day. I mean, he just joined the team.
Just joined the team, and they said, you know what? we like the fact that you made all your starts last year. We like the fact that, I get it, you're with the Rays, but they don't have all the answers. And the numbers not bad on both sides. Like, I get it. People are like, oh, man, if he hits his potential. Yeah, I get that too. But good for the Orioles saying, you know what, we're not going to go out and make that mega splash in the free agency market, but we're definitely not going to let some of these guys go. After I was kind of against them letting Grayson Rodriguez go because I thought he would kind of be that guy. They didn't see it that way. So good for them, not only going and making the move for a guy they like, but doubling down on it and saying, we're going to keep him around. I thought they should have done this with Corbin Burns. Hey, you know what? Corbin Burns missed the entire year with Tommy John. So the Orioles, they're making moves. Obviously, he's got to go out and do what he did last year because making all your starts, if he just makes all his starts, I don't care really how he does, he makes his starts in the big leagues, this contract's worth every penny.
Yeah, and Burns is getting 4x on guaranteed dollars compared to this. It's different because Baz is going through his arbitration years right now. They bought out 2 years of free agency for Baz. Last year, full starts, the peripherals, the stuff plus numbers, things that front offices love looked good. The road numbers and the home numbers and the home homer numbers were not great, but he was pitching in a minor league park where there were more homers. So that was part of the mix there too. Yeah, I mean, I think that this is going to turn out to be quite the bargain. I think this guy's going to be good. I think the floor is like a 3 starter and the ceiling is a 2 or a 1 starter in terms of stuff. And he was drafted in 2017. Last year was his first full season. It's like 8 years later. You're a pitcher, arms a ticking time bomb. You take these deals when you get that opportunity, and you're Shane Baz. Quickly on Nico Hoerner, we learned it's 141 over 6 because we did that talk last week, and there are $10 million of deferred money in there. But let's show the Bob Nightingale tweet. He said, anyone accusing the Cubs for ruining baseball, they have easily spent more money than any team in baseball this winter, $488 million after Nico Hoerner's 6-141.
I'm just gonna comment on the tweet. It's exactly right, Bob. All it is people hating on the Dodgers because they ain't them. Don't hate them because you ain't them. You know what? People had opportunities to knock the big bad Dodgers off. Now the Cubs are going to be the big bad Cubs, and if they win, are people going to say the same thing? I don't know, but no, good for the Cubs, good for Nico Hoerner. 144, good. And deferred money, cheaters, freaking cheaters, all of them.
All 15 teams that are doing it. 36 career homers entering this year and gets that kind of money for everything else he does, which is really cool.
After a rough end to spring training, he came out on opening day, made it look pretty easy. 2 runners on in the first inning, and then he retired 14 straight at one point. He went 6, gave up 1 run. It was unearned. Pretty good day's work for Tarik Skubal. 11 swings on his changeup, 9 of them were whiffs. After the game, he said he thought his changeup was just all right. So that's where we're at with Skubal, going for his 3rd straight Cy Young. Austin, you've been around a lot of star players, and Skubal's ascended to this status where he's about as famous as that can get. He's faced a lot of scrutiny for a lot of different things, but this dude just goes about his business.
Yeah, I mean, it's really not a lot for me to talk about with him because this is just he looks like the Cy Young that I've seen the past couple years, and that's the thing is for me is there was a lot of talk. We talked a lot in the offseason about the contract, and we were going back and forth and oh man, are they going to sign? Is he going to walk? They're going to trade him? What's going to happen? And then he just comes out and he's like, I'm just going to come out here and do me. I'm not going to worry all of that stuff that went on in the offseason, the back and forth, and we're not going to budge and we're not going to budge. And then I just come out here and I'm going to show you why I'm worth why I put where my mark here is because that's who I am. That's what I'm capable of. And he just has that aura about him that when he's on the mound, it's like, and this is a good San Diego team now. This isn't like, a scrub team that he just made look kind of like some scrubs. I ain't gonna lie. Like he man, my man was just on it. And it's just this confidence, this aura about him that he brings to the mound. And then it's just the team follows that. And so like when he's on the mound and he just has this dominance about him, it just seems like the team plays to that level. And I don't like, again, it's just hard to kind of put it in the words of his greatness. I'm going to say the dude he's great. And
Hey, let's slap. And a shout out to Dom Smith, who unfortunately lost his mother just 13 days prior to that walk-off grand slam he had over the weekend. She lost a battle with cancer. Dom had the big granny in front of a packed house in Atlanta. Just a really cool moment for him, Kratz, a guy who's bounced around the league a little bit. And then he said Ronald Acuna Jr. signed a baseball for the fan who caught it so that they could get the baseball back.
That's awesome. That's awesome. She was diagnosed in September, I think, is what I remember him saying. And like he had to deal with it the entire offseason. There's a lot of like uneasiness, uncertainty about, am I going to do well this year? I worked so hard, all this stuff. Spring went good, it went bad, blah, blah, blah. To deal with that off the field also, and then to be able to hit this absolutely awesome home run coming off the bench. He's never going to be the starter on this team because unless there's injuries. So, I mean, just epic story. Feel awful for him as for losing his mom, but to be able to do this on the field, it kind of hopefully gave him some reprieve during a tough time.
And for the Braves, a much better start to their season than last year when they went 0-7. Alex Anthopoulos was talking about how they also were on the road right before that for an exhibition series against the Cubs. Then they went there, so they felt like they were on the road forever. Did you know that this was the first home opener for Austin Riley? That's how long it had been since the Braves played at home to start their season. The schedule at the beginning of the year is always so weird. Strange. Who do you got today, by the way? Yeah.
Chinese Taipei, little WBC, Chinese Taipei hat. The WBC hats are so cool. The logo just pops. But that opening day stuff, I don't get it. All cold weather teams should be down south.